Good evening, everyone. Cheers and flake. I would like to say that is the first one this week, but it isn't. I did have a little bit of a drink last night, it has to be said. I just couldn't wait, basically. So let's get straight in and do the register. Let's see who's in. Michael Dodds. John, I was in your Indian restaurant last week. So was I. Actually, well, I wasn't in there. We had a takeaway from there. David Evans, Deco Dude, Vincent Brennan, Grandpa Joe says, hello from Staten Island, New York. Happy Friday to all. Well, the same to you as well, Grandpa Joe. Peter Nelson. Peter is the chap responsible for this guitar. Doesn't he make nice guitars? And there's also a couple of... Peter also loaned me that Greg Bennett Samick that you saw yesterday. And you'll be seeing again on Sunday. Who else we got? Kieran Roberts, Malcolm Spillett. I've just finished editing our video today, Malcolm, so that'll be going up at some point. Peter Collins. My old mate Jem Jarvis is in. How are you, Jem? Knocked off work early, have you? Jimmy James, Kieran Roberts, Milk Shakespeare is on the Robinson's lemon cordial, but it's all good. Well, yes, I'm not on lemon cordial tonight. Craig Stamen, how are you, mate? Nancy Davis, Colin Falcon, and Jem's on the Cobra, and a jalfrezi has been ordered. Yes, we're dining from the kebab shop tonight, it has to be said. Vincent Brennan, Gordo Canuck, displaced Canadian here from Northern Thailand. Hi, all. Well, nice to see you, Gordon. First-time visitor as well, apparently. And who else? We've got Ian Clark, the Essex Cat, Peter Morrison, or Pete P. Morrison, I should say, Dave Pegg, Mike Hurley, Ian Lewis, Pablo Hank, how are you, mate? David Daly says, let me put you up on screen there, David. Much ale is needed. Just found out my mother is moving to my town and the neighbour's yappy dog has been barking all day. The level of annoyance between the two things. Okay, fair enough, yes. Get some ale down you then. It makes everything better. And who else we got? I'm just scrolling down here. Jason Carter's on the pork schnitzel when in Germany. I'm great, thank you, Craig. Muskie's here. Let's put this up. Please give a mention to Elsie, age 9, and Leo, age 4. We're sat having our tea. Well, hello, Elsie and Leo. I hope you're enjoying your tea. And don't forget to eat your vegetables, like I never do. Anyway, I think we're well enough. Oh, what's this? Let me put you up on screen there. Mr. Will Guitar. Yes, Sir John. Thanks for a great channel. I'll check in when I can. You are the man, bro. I'm out playing loads this year, which is brilliant after all this. Well, thank you very much. You're a gentleman and a scholar. And good luck with the live work, mate. Nigel's in. Nigel Sherwood, how are you, mate? I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, dear me, somebody's been to Aldi there. Chris Ottawell's been to Aldi and drinking the Rheinbacher there. It's not my favourite from Aldi, it has to be said. My favourite is their St. Etienne beer, which is absolutely gorgeous, but it's a little bit too high in alcohol content for me these days. And their Galahad brew is pretty nice as well. Anyway. Usually around about this time of night, I tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, and hopefully I'll remember, because I had a little bit of a brain fart last week and couldn't remember what videos were coming up, because I've got so many done and ready to upload. But anyway, no video tomorrow on Saturday. There's no Saturday video this week. Sunday is a bit more of I wouldn't say an in-depth review. It's just a solo using that Greg Bennett Samick guitar, the one that you saw yesterday. Where is it? Let me grab it. This one, this lovely thing here. There's on Sunday. There's a bit more of a look at this guitar, as you've probably noticed. I'm sort of shying away from doing the, the standard YouTube guitar review now, because it's not a format that I kind of enjoy doing, really. The nut width is this, and the scale length is that, and this specification and that specification. What I'm more interested in when I pick up a guitar is how it feels, how it plays, and how it sounds. And if it's good in all three of those regards and it looks nice, then that's getting the important information across. Turning it into something that the video equivalent of a Haynes manual, which is what I used to do, just kind of quoting all the specs and everything. To be honest, if you're that interested, Google it, or I always put the link to the specs below that. So anyway, Sunday's video is a bit of a jazzy blues solo using that Greg Bennett Samick guitar. Then on Monday, we have our usual solo analysis, and this is one that was requested by a viewer. And I do apologise because I've forgotten who you are, but if you're watching or if you're in the chat now, shout up and, put your hand up and tell me I'm a forgetful old fart for forgetting who you are. But there's a one-hit wonder, a big hit in the UK in '79 by a band called the Jags. And they had this song called Back of My Hand, although most people know it as, Got Your Number, because the chorus goes, I got your number written on the back of my hand. And there's a cracking little guitar solo in that, so we're looking at that on Monday. Then, on Tuesday, another one of these periodical videos that I do where I sort of round up a load of questions that people have either emailed me or put in comments below the videos and stuff, and answer those. Then on Wednesday, we have another one of these challenge yourself, step outside your comfort zone style videos. It's all about note rationing. So watch that one on Wednesday. Then behind me, you can probably see on the couch there, let me move this chair out the way. There is a black Squire Classic Vibe Strat. And I'll be unboxing that. Well, you can see I've already unboxed it, but it will be the unboxing video and first impressions will be going up on Thursday. And then come Friday, we're back on the beer again. So that's what this week holds on the John Robson Guitarist YouTube channel. Right, let's just catch up with the chat a little bit. Oh, Johnny Random's in. You're late, Johnny. You're in detention, mate. Michael Palmer, good evening. How are you? Yes, Crackerjack. I could crush a grape. Yes, that's a reference that only people of a certain vintage in the UK will get, Jason. Crackerjack was a kids' game show that was on in the 60s to the 80s, I think. Not had Galahad ale for years. Yes, it's a nice drop, actually. Yes, I'm on the beer. There you go. Sorry, I was too busy blethering to have a talk, to have a drink rather. Hey, hi, John says. Hey, John says Dave Loosewell. Hey, Dave. I like making my own. Let's put you up on screen there, Das. I like making my own guitars nowadays. If the neck doesn't feel right, just take the grinder and shape it to taste. Yep. Although, I'm not that fussy, it has to be said, when it comes to neck profiles on guitars. Anything that's too big and baseball bat-like, I would shy away from. And anything that's too far at the other extreme, where it's all kind of skinny 80s shred kind of necks, I'm not that fond of. But pretty much anything in between. Let me play the guitar for 5 minutes and acclimatise myself, and I'm usually pretty good with it. It's You know, there are some neck profiles that I prefer over others, but it's seldom is it a deal breaker for me on a guitar, the neck profile. Oh, let me put that up on screen. I have a Fender light ash neck, which I can't use. Pocket is only 55mm if you can use it. Mate, those, Das, take him up on that. I used to have a light ash Telecaster. Dear me, this will be going back about 8 or 9 years. And it was the best Telecaster I'd owned up until that point. It was a beautiful guitar. I think it was about 300 and odd quid back then, and you know it was cheaper than the standard made in Mexico ones, and it had like it came as standard with, you know, bird's eye figured maple neck, abalone inlays, Seymour Duncan pickups. It was just ridiculously high spec for the price, which is I think why Fender discontinued them. Oh, okay, let's put you up there, Anton. Ooh, I could crush a grape. Hope John reads this. Wasn't that Duncan Norvell? Wasn't that his catchphrase? Oh no, that was Chase Me, wasn't it? Yeah, I can't remember who was Crush a Grape. It was one of the kids presenters from around about that time. Oh, Podrig's got the light ash Strat. Yes, mine was the Telecaster. I absolutely love that guitar, but it had to go to basically pay some bills at the time. The woes of a jobbing musician. You know, you have good years and you have bad years, and in bad years you say goodbye to some nice guitars, unfortunately. Yeah, well, that's right, Anton. It was Stu Francis. I'll tell you what's that? I'll tell you something. Phil McKnight ain't vaping and have a beer tonight. Well, I am. Any particular reason why Phil ain't having a beer? I don't know if he does vape, to be honest with you. I do, as you probably all know. But anyway, yes, excuse me. I've been needing a top-up. This evening, I shall be mainly, once again, on the Carling. Much maligned, but for a 4% beer, which is what I'm sort of limited to nowadays, it's perfectly quaffable. I do prefer the 4% Galahad from Aldi, but I haven't had a chance to go to Aldi this week. Had to get a delivery, and Aldi don't deliver. So let's see how appallingly badly I can pour this one. So it's not shaping up too bad at the moment, but it's all in that final few glugs, isn't it? When it can all go horribly wrong. That's for Carling. That's not a bad one, it has to be said. You know, I've done a lot worse than that on the Carling. I think I'd settle for that. So yes, flake, I know. Oh, Stevie Hoggett's in. How are you, Steve? A well-deserved ale for Mr. H tonight. I was gigging last night and playing in Bristol last weekend. Hope everyone is good. And I hope the gigs went well, mate. You know, and nice to have you back on the live stream. The Carlin goes right through you. Well, it's any beer, really, isn't it? Once you become a gentleman of a certain age, you know, once the seal is broken, shall we say, then it's just a constant trip up and down the stairs all evening, isn't it? More bubbles than a West Ham kickoff. I gather that's a football reference, and never been into football, I have to say. 22 millionaires ruining a lawn. If they were playing out there, I'd shut the curtains. And evening, John and the Gentry. I don't know about Gentry, Geronimo. Evening, John. Can you recommend a telly bridge hot rail, please? One that won't break the bank would be champion. Keep up the good work. I can indeed. That rather knackered looking Telecaster on the wall behind me, the one that everybody picked up on when I did that video on guitars that make me go nah, and I said I didn't like relic guitars, and said, well, what people were saying in the comments, well, why have you got a relic guitar then? It's not a relic, it's just a cack-handed, ham-fisted attempt at a refinish, and I had to kind of salvage it as best I could. That guitar, for many years, it had an Artec Hot Rails humbucker in the bridge, and it was an incredible sound. Unlike most rail style humbuckers, it doesn't have a ceramic magnet. It has an Alnico 5 magnet, and it just makes it sound a little bit more transparent. When you roll the volume control off on the guitar, it begins to sound a little bit more like that kind of classic clanky Telecaster bridge pickup, but you've got the power on tap there as well when you want it. So yeah, just search eBay for Artec Telecaster hot rails. The eBay is awash with them, and you know, about 20 quid I think I paid for mine back when I had that. Maybe they've gone up a little bit now, but you're certainly not going to be paying, you know, brand name pickup prices. And Artec, you know, they're not a bad little pickup for, you know, not just not a bad pickup for the money. They're a pretty good pickup anyway. Missed you last week. I was on a pub crawl in London for my mate's 60th. It got messy. First beer and chat I've missed in ages. Well, welcome back, Chris. You know, the reason I started this live stream back in the dark and distant days of, I think it was March 2020, was because all the pubs were shut. And I thought it would be, you know, a nice thing to do to kind of get a bit of a community going on here where we could basically all just sit around like grumpy old men having a beer and, you know, talking about grumpy old men and music sort of stuff. And it seems to have worked. Some looks like somebody's being an idiot in the chat. Hello from YouTube. Do you have a vaccine passport present? You have to be vaccinated to be on YouTube. I think we're going to... excuse me, I clicked on the wrong thing then. I'm just doing a little... And yes, we're going to block this person because they're being an idiot. Anyway, let's carry on as we were. I think we've got some more idiots in the chat. Excuse me while I just do some blocking here. Okie doke. This is what you get for blethering away all the time. You know, you miss the idiots in the chat. Anyway, let's scroll down. We'll just ignore the idiots. Yes, I've just seen him, Kieran, he's gone. John, if you need a moderator, I'm free most Fridays. Yes, we've only had this cropped up a couple of times before, ages ago, and then it just seemed to just kind of not happen anymore. But I will look into that. Thank you, you know, for thank you for the offer. If I'll have to see what's involved in appointing somebody a moderator, but thank you, mate. Oh, they're bots. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, we'll just ignore them. It's... Oh, and there's another one. Okay. I'm not going to spend the whole live stream blocking idiots, but, you know, as I say, there are there are three dots if you hover over a comment that you might notice that looks obviously the work of an idiot. And if you hover the mouse over it, there's three dots there, and you can just block them. So please feel free to do that on my behalf if you feel it necessary. Anyway, let's get back on to talking about guitars. Where are we? Many guitars sport Artec pickups and never know it. Yes, they are like an OEM manufacturer, aren't they, for various other brands and stuff. Yeah, I've had Artec pickups in a couple of guitars, like knowingly had them, put them in. As I say, there was that Telecaster there, and then I'm pretty sure that another brand of pickups that are actually Artec are the I can't swear to this, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was true, to be honest with you. You know the Axis RS totally tappable rail style pickups. I had those in a vintage V6 ages ago, and it was a great sort of hot rails style for the bridge end of a Strat. So, it sounded very similar to an Artec. So it wouldn't surprise me if, What's that, Jem? I might sound like an idiot, but please don't block me. Never, mate. Oh, here we go. There's another one. Block that one. And yes, we'll just keep on blocking. It's a bit like playing whack-a-mole, this, isn't it? Where you get the Deep Purple t-shirt, John, want one? Well, that came from Kieran, who's in the chat at the moment. Kieran sent me it, and the Deep Purple poster you can see on the wall behind me. He's basically got a family member who's closely associated with the band, and he got me some memorabilia. I don't know if these are generally on sale, but who knows? I don't know if I'm wearing something that's exclusive or not. What you're saying there, Kieran? Don't block them, mate. It's AI. They will win that battle. Yeah, I'm just ignoring them, to be honest with you. According to my wife, my amp is too loud. Anyone else got the same problem? Well, not me. No. The only amp that's in this room here is that little Yamaha thing there, which it can rattle the windows a little bit. That it has to be said. It's loud enough, but it's not too loud. Artec pickups have to be good. It's what Alex Turner from the Artec Monkeys uses on his guitars. Yes, thank you very much. I'm allowed to play a 60-watt valve amp at full tilt on special occasions. Detached house makes all the difference. Excuse me, I'm only on my second beer and I'm already slurring. I have a John Robson t-shirt that's pretty exclusive. Yes, not many people have got those. Not because they're rare, it's just it's just I don't sell that much merchandise. I should really push that sort of thing a little bit more, but I don't like shilling too much on the channel. I've had a couple of companies approach me in the last couple of weeks, wanting me to do kind of pre-roll adverts and stuff like that, but I don't really, I don't want to just become, a salesman for other people's stuff. I'd rather be a salesman for my own channel and for the lessons and stuff. My friend Mike Airy is on Instagram. If you want a shirt, hit him up, and they're available to the public. Oh yes, that's Kieran talking. Let me put you up on screen, Kieran. Yes, and Mike Airy, you will know that surname as a relation of Don Airy. as in Deep Purple. So that's the connection there. So yeah, just get in touch on Instagram, and you can have a shirt. John Mayall was supposed to be coming to Stuttgart next year, but he's just announced his retirement from touring at 87 years old. What a legend. Is he really pushing 90? I suppose he must be, because, he was in the Blues Breakers, in the 60s, Clapton and everything. I mean, Clapton was, he was older than, he was a generation beyond like someone like Clapton back then. So, yeah, I guess he must be. Heard Mark Knopfler hit a bum note the other week. Thought, hey, up there's hope for all of us yet. Then, yes. Well, I saw Eric Clapton at the Birmingham NEC in 1990. It was the first night of the Journeyman tour. He'd released Journeyman, the album, I think in 89, and he kicked off the tour in just kind of, I think it was like the 2nd of January in 1990. And, great gig. And then he gets to the end. And, of course, what's the final song of the gig? Layla. And he screws up the intro of Layla. And, just had a laugh, lit a cigarette, played it again, and absolutely played out of his skin for the rest of the night, for the rest of the song. So, it can happen to everybody, I suppose. Journeyman was the last Clapton album I bought. I'm just trying to think what's the last Clapton album I bought. It might have been, I bought one called Reptile, which was sort of mid-2000s or thereabouts. And just I thought, this is, you're back to just paying the mortgage again, aren't you, Eric? But the one I really liked from roughly the same sort of The King, that's a great album. There's something about Eric when he's playing with, kind of spurs him on a little bit. It's the same as the gig I always mention, which is that 80s gig that he did with Carl Perkins. It wasn't just Eric Clapton and Carl Perkins, it was George Harrison, Dave Edmunds, Ringo Starr, rockabilly gig, and he was absolutely on fire that whole night. So there is definitely something about when he's playing to impress his mentors, he tends to pull it out the bag a little bit more, I think. Anyone read Peter Frampton's book, Do You Feel Like I Do? A fantastic read, amazing musical journey. I didn't know he'd got a book out, to be honest with you. A book I can certainly recommend is, I think it's called Heaven and Hell, and it's the autobiography of Don Felder, the one half of the Eagles guitar partnership for many years. And it lifts the lid on some rather dodgy shenanigans that happened in the Eagles in the 70s and all the way through to the 90s when they finally depends who you believe. Did he leave? Was he fired? What happened? There's two sides to that story. But if what Don Felder says is true in that book, then it doesn't cast certain other members of that band in a particularly good light, let's put it. But I shall have to have a look out for the Frampton book. It's actually, as I've said many times, what I do every morning as I'm kind of easing myself into the day is I put an album on and listen to it front to back, start to finish. And as it's starting to get, kind of darker on a morning at the moment, I'm having to start taking the dog out a little bit later. So I'm putting longer albums on. And this morning it was Frampton Comes Alive. we all know that's a great, great album. And, you kind of think, yeah, Frampton comes, you're scrolling through your music and you think, yeah, Frampton Comes Alive. It's a great, great album. Maybe I'll listen to it another time. Dark Side of the Moon's another album I do that with quite a lot. But then when you do just kind of sit and put it on and listen to it front to back, you realise, oh my God, yeah, this is good. I knew it was good, but I'd forgotten it was this good. So, just go and check out Frampton Comes Alive again if you haven't listened to it in a while. It's an absolute barnstorming album. Oh, dear me, Time Prophet. Sorry, I put the wrong comment up there. The chat has a habit of moving every time I go to click on something. Let me put you up there. I have never heard any Peter Frampton, says the Time Prophet. Well, mate, honestly, do yourself a favour. Go and check out Frampton Comes Alive. It's one of, if not, well, I'd say it's certainly in the top 3 of live rock albums ever created. His guitar playing on it is melodic, lyrical. He's not a shredder, so you wouldn't sort of say he's a virtuoso in that sort of sense, but he is just absolutely on fire across that whole album. And unlike many live albums where the master tapes get taken back into the studio and retouched and reworked, I think that there was an issue with one of the mics on the bass drum on that album, and I think they had to retouch that in a few places, but that's it. That's the only reworking and kind of re-recording that was done on that album. It is essentially what the audience heard on the night, and it's an absolute brilliant live album. Okay, Daniel, rather. Why'd I call you Derek there? How long have you been playing the guitar? I can actually name the day when I first picked up the guitar. It was 1978, and the long summer holidays before going back to school in September, I decided I wanted to learn to play the guitar, and the only place where I could get a guitar was out of my mother's mail order catalogue. I was 11 at the time. And it was one of these things, kind of 56 pence over 38 weeks or something like that. You paid it off, and I was paying it off out of like my pocket money or whatever. And it was supposed to be delivered, and then there was a delay, and then it was out of stock, and then they sent, the wrong thing. They sent... I think rather than a guitar, I think they sent a recorder or something like that. Anyway, it was delay and return and delay and return. And it eventually turned up on the day I went back to school in September 1978, going from the kind of primary school to the big school, as it was called. That's when the guitar turned up, and I came home and it was there. And, my freshly pressed school uniform that I was having to wear for the first time, kind of chafing at me. And I was, a bit intimidated because it had been the first day at the big school. And, and my guitar was waiting for me there, a K 6-string student acoustic, with an action like an egg slicer. And, but I didn't know any different at the time. You don't know what is a good guitar or what isn't a bad, or what's a bad guitar when you first start learning, because you have no experience of it. Then I quickly graduated onto a Woolworths Top 20 and then a satellite Les Paul copy. I've heard the talk box tube gets full of saliva. It can't be pretty. Yes, the infamous Frampton talkbox. That is an effect that, I don't know, maybe I'm behind the curve a little bit here, but it's one effect that I felt sure would just end up, there'd be a digital version of it. It would be something that you could, work with a pedal or control via a MIDI controller or something like that. Maybe you can, I don't know. It's just, I've never really heard any news of that. And as far as I know, if you want that sound, you have to have the plastic tube coming up into your mouth and to manipulate the sound. It just seems such a low-tech way of doing stuff, even for 7x70 standards. Have you played any solid-state amps, John? I've played lots of solid-state amps. Shall we have a tour through my amp history? My first ever amplifier, if you can call it that, was an Amstrad TS40. Music Centre, as we used to call stereos back then. That was the first amp I ever played through. And then I graduated onto a Laney Mighty 50 solid state 50-watt single channel amp that I ended up blowing up. Then, oh dear me, what did I have after that? A succession of PV solid state amps. I think I had a PV Backstage, numerous PV Bandits. At one point there was a Fender Pro 185, which is like a solid state Fender twin kind of thing. Hughes and Kettner PCS 50, I had one of those. And then Marshall valve state, then onto full valve driven Marshalls. I had a Sessionette. Does anybody else ever remember Sessionette amps? It was a 75-watt solid state amp. Beautiful sound. It was, this was in the 80s when, before modeling or anything like that was even thought of, but it was like a really warm kind of valvey sort of sound out of a solid state amp. But pretty much in the early 90s, once I'd gone onto the Marshall valve state, I began this love-hate relationship with Marshalls. I love the sound, but I've never, ever, ever owned a reliable Marshall, it has to be said. Session is still going strong. I didn't know that. Well, that'd be cool if I could check them out. Let me put you up on screen there, Butch. I can't resist all those pictures of the beers that you've put up. Yes, there's a few beers in there. You rock, John. Here's to you, mate. Well, thank you very much. You got any Telecasters you're going to sell or any other guitars? At the moment, no. There is going to be a Telecaster that I'm going to be reviewing at some point shortly. I've got so much gear to review at the moment. There's another guitar. I've got a Line 6 Variax at the back of the room there, courtesy once again of Peter, who built that lovely offset guitar for me. That's going to be coming up very, very shortly, and it'll do a Telecaster sound, but it's not mine to sell, so I won't be selling it. Colin has a beautifully modded white Squire Telecaster that I am going to be getting me filthy paws on at some point in the coming weeks and doing a review of that. But I haven't got any to sell at the moment. So no, is the short answer. Das Schaff, yes, that's one of the amps that I forgot to mention. I used to have a HH amp. It wasn't that little actually. It was quite a big chunky thing, 50-watt thing, which I believe is the same one that Wilco Johnson had for large part of his career. I've still got a Fender Red Knob. The Twin was way too loud and big. I still regret selling it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's happened once or twice with me where I've had students who, they wanted the Gibson Les Paul or the Fender Stratocaster and the Marshall stack when they were, 15 or 16 and obviously couldn't have one. And then they kind of, they do okay with themselves. They get a nice career and then eventually they can afford that guitar and amp that they couldn't have when they were 15 or 16. The thing is, you get like a big stage amp, like a Fender Twin or like Marshall, kind of head and a 4x12. You just can't use it in the house. Well, not without like attenuators or load boxes or anything like that. So it's, there is a reason why there is such a big resurgence in, kind of low wattage valve amps, so you can crank them up to their maximum, which is still a civilized volume, and use them at home. My first amp was a Hughes and Kettner 100 watt. I soon learned my lesson. I have a 15 watt tube amp now. Yeah, exactly. And, even for a lot of gigs, if you turn up with, a big, kind of stadium rig, in terms of wattage, and you try playing, in a covers band at the Dog and Trumpet or whatever, it's just, you're just going to be too loud. Before you kind of crank it up to the point where it sounds like, the thing about the Marshall amp, for example, is, you got to crank the damn things up till they're kind of, till they're cooking, till they're rattling the windows, before you get that sound that you hear on the Thin Lizzy and the AC/DC and the, all of the classic, kind of records that have that sound. They don't sound like that if you're just playing them at a civilized volume. So, I am thinking about at the moment, I've been mentioning this for a while, I am thinking about getting one of those little Marshall kind of low wattage amps. There's a 5 watt one, there's even a 1 watt one. But this is a small room, and I've got to kind of think about how I'm going to mic it up and everything. So it is something I'm trying to look for solutions to do, but quite apart from anything else, there's always other things to spend the money on. What's that? Let me put you up on the screen there, Ian. I've been enjoying my vintage 47 amps, Supro 5 watt clone. It's still really loud for home use when cranked. Yeah, vintage 47. I don't think I know that brand, but one more to check out, I suppose. Blue guitar floor amps are amazing. I got one a few weeks ago, and it's brilliant. You can play it low through the computer on a small cab, or crank it up on stage. Yeah, but they're not exactly cheap though, are they, Craig, those blue guitar amps? Back in the dim and distant past, when I was still using the Vox Tone Lab, brilliant pedal, by the way, absolutely loved that pedal. And I knew I was going to have to find a replacement for it at some point. I did look into getting one of those Thomas Blue amps, and it just, for what I would use it for, it just seemed like I would be paying a lot of money for stuff that I wouldn't be using. So that's why I didn't pull the trigger on it. But it was, from what I've heard of them, in terms of YouTube videos and stuff, they do sound absolutely mega, it has to be said. Oh, you used to have a Marshall Lead 100 MOSFET. Yes. Often those Marshall MOSFET amps are the ones that history forgot, aren't they? We don't sort of talk about them much these days. But it's often forgotten that Marshall used to do a lot of business making and selling solid state amps. Boss Katana 50 is your main amp, is your amp now, is it, Kevin? Yeah, I had a Katana in here, and I didn't dislike it, but it was the thing with this one, okay, this amp here, this little Yamaha that the beer is stood in front of, is it works as a great little speaker system for that laptop in the corner there. You can see that over there, that laptop over there, which is like my overspill machine. And the thing I couldn't quite get my head round with the Katana was that when you used it as a speaker system for the computer, just USB it into the computer, all of the guitar effects, the overdrive, the delay, the reverb and everything get put onto whatever music you're playing back on the computer. There are workarounds, I'm told, for so that doesn't happen. But with that little Yamaha, when you're playing your guitar through it, you're hearing all of the chorus, the delay, the overdrive, and the reverb, and all the stuff that you have on a guitar sound. But when you play music back through it, when you play like an MP3 on the computer, it doesn't put that onto the onto the music that you're playing back. And I just think, well, why does the Katana do that? Why do you have to kind of then faff around to kind of get round that? So that was my main bugbear with the Katana. But the thing with the Katana as well is that, again, it does so much, and I would use probably about that much of what it does. So again, it's not really the amp for me. I'm a simple lad. I have simple tastes. As long as I can get a clean tone and a dirty tone, then that's kind of enough for me usually. Although I am going to be there is, I said there's a load of gear reviews coming up. There's going to be a pedal board review coming up at some point in the coming weeks as well. Now then, yes, other things I need to talk about. I forgot. I meant to mention this at the beginning of the video, the stream rather. The blues masterclass. People have been asking me when that Zoom blues masterclass is going to take place. I want to get it right rather than get it done quick. And the final thing I have to do is do a full dress rehearsal, as I'm going to call it, where I'm basically timing it out so that I know roughly how long it's going to be, taking. And a very kind gentleman. Oh, there's my phone going off. Excuse me, I should have put this on silent. What's going on here? Yes, it's my mate Jem. He's texting me. There's a very kind gentleman who's probably on the stream tonight, actually, called Ian, who's going to be my guinea pig for that. So once I've got that fully timed out, so I can say, okay, this is going to be a 4-hour event, this is going to be a 5-hour event, that's when the tickets will go on sale. I would keep your eyes peeled in the next couple of weeks, and there will be an announcement coming forth. The other thing I want to talk about is there is talk of another get together where, what we did back in August, where we all kind of meet up for a beer and a curry. It is going to happen. First of all, let's just nail that one to the mast. It is going to happen again, but it's not going to happen this side of Christmas. I'm going to put this on silent. Yes, there we go. It's not going to happen this side of Christmas. A number of reasons for that. I have some stuff I need to be dealing with, which I don't want to talk about too much now because, I just don't want to talk about it, to be honest with you. But it's going to mean that I can't really make solid commitments. Essentially, I may have to be going into hospital. But as I said, I'm not talking about that. So it's my birthday in February, and hopefully all of that kind of shenanigans that, hospital and all that sort of stuff will be dealt with by then. And yes, so it's my birthday in February, so we'll be having a John Robson birthday party bash at some point, very much the same as it was for the August bash, where we just meet up, drink insane amounts of alcohol, and then go for a curry. So I'll keep you posted on what's going on with that as we get nearer to the time. Damn, John, you're on the almost non-alcoholic stuff this evening. It's Carling, it's 4%. I basically got, as you do when you're a middle-aged man, you get summoned to see the doctor every few months. And I was told in no uncertain terms that I needed to cut back on me drinking. Not that I'm like some raging alcoholic or anything. It's just that I spend 13 hours a day quite often in this room, and right on the other side of that wall over there is the big hot water tank for the house. So even if the heating isn't on, the hot water will be on, and there's a big source of heat on the other side of that wall. So 13 hours in here, I'm quite often a hot, sweaty, greasy, frazzled mess, and the temptation to just go and chug back a few cold ones, that's going to be a flake, that one, by the way, at the end of a shift like that is too tempting. So rather than cutting back on the number of beers, which I have done, but not kind of that drastically, I've cut back on the alcohol by volume. So I'm being very good, and I'm sticking to 4% beer at the moment, and Carling is currently on offer. So that's why I'm on the Carling. Let's catch up with the chat a bit, see if we've got rid of the idiots. John sounds like a meat and potatoes type of player when it comes to gay. I am. That's pretty much sums me up. Just cut back on the hot water. Port is a good substitute. I do like a nice glass of port, especially after a big meal. Hi John, hi John, player series Strat versus Larry Carlton. In your previous video, it sounded like the Larry Carlton was favoured. Oh yes, very much so. Let me tell you about that player series Strat. I wanted to love it. I thought when I ordered it, I thought, yeah, I'll have this guitar, I'll do the videos with it, and then sell it on. And essentially, the business model I work on is that I make a bit of a loss when I sell the guitar on, as you usually do, because it's no longer a brand new guitar, it's a used guitar. But the revenue I get from the videos more than offsets that. So I usually end up on the right side of the profit and loss line. But when it turned up, it was such a beautiful looking guitar. I thought, you know what, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I kept this guitar. And I really made an effort to try and bond with that guitar. I really, really did. And it just never happened. It just never really kind of won me over. So it got sold. But the Larry Carlton guitar, let me go and grab it. This ain't going anywhere. This is a beautiful guitar. As I said, I think in the last video that I did with this, in the most recent video I did with this, I should say, this feels like a custom shop guitar, and it's 430 quid. This is along with this one, and occasionally this one, Lowly Harley Benton Les Paul copy. These are the guitars that I'm reaching for more and more these days. Obviously Blondie here, this is still number one. This is a special guitar, and I can't just look at the top on this. You know, I mean, look at it, beautiful thing. You know, but that Larry Carlton guitar, those three, and occasionally you can see, if I just move this mic out the way there, you can see there is a Nashville Telecaster on the wall back there, which was very, very, very generously given to me by a good friend of mine called Joe. Those are the guitars that I just routinely reach for nowadays. And, you know, so you might think, well, why not thin the herd a little bit? Well, it's because it does make a nice backdrop, doesn't it, with all those other guitars behind me? It has to be said. Thank you, John. I think a Larry Carlton may be my next drunk purchase in about 4 hours. Just do it, mate. Just do it when you're sober. You won't regret it. Drunk or sober, that is a beautiful guitar. The Player Plus series from Fender, which have, the rolled fretboard edges and just the upgrades from the Player series guitars. They're nice guitars by the look of them. I've never played one yet, although we'll see what we can do about that. But, they're like 900 quid or 800, 900 quid. That guitar, this one, apart from the fact that it doesn't have noiseless pickups, let's get that out there right now. It just has, kind of regular pickups, which are really, really good sounding, it has to be said, but they're not noiseless pickups. Apart from that, everything else about this guitar is either equal to or better than the Fender Player Plus. You've got locking tuners. You've got a roasted maple, which the Fender has as well. You've got roasted maple neck, which the Fender doesn't have. Beautiful abalone inlays, It's in that video that I did about guitars that make me go, nah. I was talking about Liberace guitars. There's a fine line between luxurious and opulent, and then just, tipping over that line into ostentatious. And this, with the pearloid scratch plate and the abalone and the roasted maple and everything, is just nicely the right side of that line. Your mileage may vary, as they say. You might have different tastes to me, but for me, that is a beautiful looking, classy but understated guitar. And excuse me, just scrolling up here. And John, you said previously that Larry Carlton knocks the socks off the player's Strat neck. Could you elaborate that Larry Carlton is a fine looking and sounding guitar? Yes. What I mean by the neck on this being better than the Player Series Strat, first of all, the rolled fretboard edges. The edge of the, let me hold it down here, the edge of the neck here, where there's usually, kind of the curvature of the back of the neck and the flatter fretboard radius, there's usually a hard edge there on most guitars. This is just beautifully rolled over. It feels like it's been played for 40 years, and it's just all kind of played in and comfortable. Then there's the fact that this guitar has a roasted maple neck rather than just a maple neck on the Player Series Strat. What difference does that make? All of the moisture has been extracted from the neck on this guitar, and that means it ain't ever going to twist or warp or change shape. When you get a change in humidity or temperature or anything like this on a non-roasted maple neck, basically the neck will possibly shrink a little bit as it dries out, leaving the fret ends standing proud. The well-known phenomenon of fret sprout, that's never going to happen on that guitar. So, it's just, as I said in the video, everything about that guitar is just that little few percentage points better than on the Fender, and it's cheaper than the Fender. So that's why it's, I think, a better guitar. Peter Collins says, "What's the black Strat on your sofa?" You obviously missed the start of the stream. That is a guitar which was very, very generously donated to Zoe's Place Baby Hospice by a chap who got in touch with me, watches the channel all the time. He's a habitual Les Paul guy, and he wanted a Strat, so he bought that one. It's a Squier Classic Vibe 70s HSS Strat, and he said, "I don't want it. Do you want to donate it to Zoe's Place?" So I said, yes, please. The unboxing video for that guitar is coming up on Thursday, and then there's one or two other videos with it, but basically it's just passing through. I'm going to be making a few videos with it. Squire Classic Vibe 70s HSS, and then it'll be on its way to raise some funds for Zoe's place. Let's scroll down and see what I've missed. Am I still allowed to watch Beer O'Clock now I've opened a bottle of Sicilian Red? You can. There are people on this live stream who are watching whilst drinking lime cordial. So yes, crack on, mate. Whatever floats your boat. Let's just have a look and see what people have been talking about while I've been blethering. Oh yeah, we've got to put this up. My only fear about dying is that the wife will sell my guitars based on what she thinks I paid for them. Yes. Yes, we always tell the odd little white lie on those kind of things. I did hear from a chap the other day that the reason why he buys relict guitars is so that he can say to his missus, "Oh, well, this thing, look, it's I've had this one ages. Look at the state of it," and he gets away with it in that way. So there you go. John, I am pushing your modes course on Udemy. Great course, thanks. Well, thank you very much, Jason. I do have a bit of an announcement at some point. This is going to be next year, but at some point I am going to be removing my courses from Udemy. Because Udemy, well, let's just say we have our differences. Myself and the people at Udemy, I'm not entirely happy with me setting a price for a course that I think it's worth and reflects the amount of hours I've put into creating the course, and then they sell it for a fraction of that price, but still take their full cut. So now I've got the reach on YouTube, especially, that I didn't have when I first started putting the courses on Udemy. I'm thinking, well, I can probably, sell them on my own website for, and rather than having to pay somebody else who's, taking a big cut. And then this is it on Udemy. When I put a course up there, I set a price, and then Udemy just ignore that and sell it for whatever they think fit, which is often like a course that I'll be, selling for 20 quid. They'll put it up for like a £5, and I have no say in that, but then they still take their full cut. Oh, hello. We've got the idiot back again, or one of them anyway. So let's just hit block there, and that is gone. The amount of stuff on your Patreon is awesome, John. That's one thing I'm thinking. Oh, thank you, first of all, Anton. That's one thing. Oh, is Mike in? I didn't see you crop in there, Mike. Sorry, I was too busy blethering. Nice to see you, Mike. And great news about that, about your health news. Really, I think I can speak for everybody here when I can say we're really, really, really pleased for you, mate. You're a gentleman, and what you do is on YouTube is really appreciated. It's so great to that you shared your good news with us. Anyway, yes, as I was saying, what I was thinking of doing, and I'm just sort of spitballing ideas around here, is maybe putting up a second tier on the Patreon thing, where basically you get access to all the courses that are currently on Udemy. I would earn more money from doing it that way, and it would probably be cheaper than for you guys than actually enrolling on them on Udemy. We're just kind of thinking about things here at the moment. Anyway, I've been talking for over an hour, and I am starting to get a bit hungry. So it's, as I say, kebab shop tonight. So I need to go and tap the app and get on to Just Eat and start ordering kebabs and all manner of kind of sustenance. So once again, thank you so much, everybody. Not to the trolls who've been in the chat, but, we'll just ignore them. Thank you once again, everybody, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern gobshite talk cobblers for an hour and, putting beer away. It is immensely gratifying, and I'll keep on doing it until you're all sick of me. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say, time, gentlemen, please.